Hey there, space cadets and earthbound plant enthusiasts. Welcome to today's out-of-this-world adventure in cosmic cultivation. That's right, we're talking about galactic gardening, growing plants where no plant has grown before. Imagine you're an astronaut on a years-long mission to Mars. You're cruising through the cosmos, dreaming of a fresh salad. But wait, the nearest grocery store is millions of miles away. What's a space traveler to do? Enter the world of space farming, where science fiction meets reality. Today, we're diving into the challenges, triumphs, and hilarious mishaps of growing plants in space. Buckle up because this ride is about to get as wild as a zero-gravity cucumber. First things first, why bother growing plants in space? Well, besides satisfying those pesky astronaut cravings for fresh veggies, plants are crucial for long-term space missions. They provide food, oxygen, and even help recycle waste. Plus, they're great company when you're light years away from home. Who wouldn't want a little green friend named Planty to talk to? But growing plants in space isn't exactly a walk in the park. Or should I say, a float in the space station? The first challenge: gravity, or rather the lack of it. On Earth, plants know which way is up, thanks to gravity. In space, they're more confused than a fish on a bicycle. Roots and stems grow in all directions, creating a botanical version of a bad hair day. Scientists have had to get creative to help plants find their way. They've developed special growth chambers with LED lights to guide the plants. It's like a disco party for vegetation. Next up, water. You'd think watering plants in space would be easy, right? Wrong! In microgravity, water forms bubbles that float around. Imagine trying to water your houseplants with a bunch of floating water balloons. Not exactly efficient. To solve this, researchers have developed high-tech plant pillows. These space-age cushions help distribute water evenly around the roots. It's like a cozy bed and breakfast for your space tomatoes. Speaking of tomatoes, let's talk about pollination. On Earth, we rely on bees and other insects to spread pollen. But in space, there are no bees, unless you count the B-movie sci-fi kind, but those aren't much help with gardening. So astronauts have become the bees. They use tiny brushes to manually pollinate plants. It's like playing matchmaker for flowers in space. Now you might be wondering, what kind of plants are we growing up there? Well, NASA's not exactly cultivating space pumpkins yet. They started small with leafy greens like lettuce and kale. Astronauts took their first bite of space-grown lettuce in 2015. I bet that was the most expensive salad in history. Since then, they've branched out to other crops. They've grown Chinese cabbage, red Russian kale, and even zinnia flowers. Yes, space flowers, because who says you can't have a romantic dinner for two in zero gravity? But the real star of the space garden is the chili pepper. In late 2021, astronauts successfully grew and ate chili peppers in space. Talk about spicing up your space menu? I wonder if they paired it with freeze-dried ice cream. Now let's talk about the fancy equipment making all this possible. The International Space Station has two main plant growth systems. First, there's Veggie, a suitcase-sized garden that can grow 6 plants at a time. It's like a miniature greenhouse minus the annoying weeds and surprise slug visitors. Then there's the Advanced Plant Habitat, the Ferrari of space gardens. This bad boy has over 180 sensors and cameras. It's so high-tech it probably has its own Instagram account. But growing plants in space isn't just about feeding astronauts. It's teaching us valuable lessons about agriculture here on Earth. Scientists are using space experiments to develop more efficient farming techniques for challenging environments. Drought-resistant crops? Space gardening might have the answer. Vertical farming in crowded cities? Space techniques could be the solution. It's like space is giving Earth gardening tips. Talk about long-distance plant parenting. And it's not just NASA getting in on the action. The European Space Agency is exploring ways to use lunar soil as fertilizer for hydroponic crops. Imagine telling your plants they're being fed moon dust. They'd be over the moon. Speaking of the moon, Chinese researchers have successfully grown plants in lunar soil. They use bacteria to modify the moon dirt and make it more plant-friendly. It's like giving the moon a microbial makeover. But why stop at the moon? Scientists are already planning how to grow crops on Mars. The red planet might one day be home to the solar system's most exotic potato farm. Matt Damon in The Martian was just the beginning. Now you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but what about fruit? Well, hold on to your space helmets because scientists have genetically engineered plum trees to flower and fruit continuously. Space fruit salad, anyone? But it's not all smooth sailing in the space garden. Plants in space face unique challenges like cosmic radiation and altered day-night cycles. It's like jet lag, but on a galactic scale. Scientists are working on developing super plants that can handle these space stresses. Maybe we'll end up with broccoli that glows in the dark. And let's not forget about pests. Even in space, plants aren't safe from hungry critters. That's why researchers sent beneficial nematodes to the space station. These microscopic worms act as eco-friendly pest control. It's like having a tiny army of gardeners patrolling your space veggies. As we wrap up our cosmic crop tour, let's take a moment to appreciate the ingenuity of space gardening. From LED light discos to astronaut bees, from moon dust fertilizer to floating water bubbles. It's a testament to human creativity and our undying love for fresh produce. So the next time you bite into a crisp salad or enjoy a spicy chili, remember, somewhere out there floating in the vastness of space, astronauts are doing the same. They're nurturing their own little slice of Earth, one space tomato at a time. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll all be sipping Mars Tinas and munching on lunar lettuce. Until then, keep looking up and keep those green thumbs ready. The final frontier of gardening awaits. This is Galactic Gardener, signing off. May your harvests be bountiful, whether on Earth or among the stars.